You're listening to Dramas Over Flowers with Saya, Anissa, and Poroma.
This episode is brought to you by Kensington's newest release from Yamil Saad Mendez, Twice a Quinceanera. Instead of losing the deposit on her wedding venue, a jilted bride decides to throw herself a quinceanera ×2 for her 30th birthday. 1 month short of her wedding day and her 30th birthday, Nadia finds herself standing up to her infuriating, cheating fiancé for the first time in, well, forever. But that same courage doesn't translate to breaking the news to her Argentinian family. She's hyperventilating before facing them when she glimpses a magazine piece about a Latina woman celebrating herself with a second quinceanera, aka Sweet 15. And that gives Nadia a brilliant idea. As the first professional in her family, raising a glass to her achievements is the best plan she's had in years, until she discovers that the man in charge of the venue is none other than her college fling that became far more than a fling. And he looks even more delicious than a three-tiered cake. We recommend this delightful romance for fans of movies like Never Been Kissed, 13 Going on 30, and The Wedding Singer. Oh wait, guys, before we get into the episode, we had a quick announcement. Did you know that Dramas Over Flowers is turning 5 in September, which is next month? And that's coming up pretty quickly. So, what do you guys think of playing a kind of a game with us? We've all passively wondered what it would be like if Dramaland had our problems to solve. Like, what tropes and themes would it apply to our problems? That is exactly what we're trying to do with a series of posts that we want to release next month called What Would Dramaland Do? And we want you to participate. We want you to send us problems, dramatic ones, very mundane ones, whatever you think of. I'm probably going to be sending something about how my cat is fixated on a particular brand of wet food and refuses to eat if I don't get him exactly that brand every single time. And this is an expensive brand. So send us your stories. You'll find a link with way more information in the description below. And as always, we accept DMs, emails, comments, replies, homing pigeons. Maybe not that one. So check out that link, see if this is something that you're interested in. And we hope this sounds as much fun to you as it does to us trying to figure out what drama tropes we can use to solve the problems of the world. Okay, now, into the episode we go.
Hi everyone, I'm Saya.
I'm Anissa.
And I'm Poroma. And this is a special episode. What are we calling this episode, guys?
It's a wild yak.
It's a wild yak.
Okay.
Yes. Was our last wild yak the Soenguk one?
No, it was the goblin
Or did we
one.
have more in between? Oh, the goblin one. That was
The
a good
goblin one. That was fun. That was fun.
That was very
so
fun.
today we are doing another actor one. I think y'all seem to like the Soenguk one, and I was very upset to be left out of that one. But anyway, it's fine. It's fine. Today we're talking about Imingi.
Is it really fine, Anissa?
It's okay. Do you need a moment? I talked to you guys while I was listening to it on my own.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. So today we're talking about Imingi because we always love him, but we are again reminded about how much we love him in my liberation notes.
Yes!
Namely, Burma sends a text in the middle of the night saying, "You guys, I love Imingi so much." I made up the voice.
I mean, that was pretty much how I was thinking of it, because as Junkie, he's so perfectly cast. I can't imagine anybody else just embodying this erratic, hot-tempered, but also really sweet guy. It's and very verbose. Has so much to say.
Yes, but we'll get to that. But first, so if you don't know who Imingi is, shame
How
on
dare
you.
you?
But also,
Stop this episode right now and go and watch
Yes.
something.
so he was born in 1985, and his first role in a drama series was Be Strong Gumsoon, which I have watched the entire thing. And right now I cannot remember what role he played, which is like very strange to me.
Although hilariously, the reason I've heard of this is because of Business Proposal and Be Strong Gumi, the drama in the drama, which you so helpfully told us was based on that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Be Strong Come Soon is like 100 and some episode daily drama that I
Goodness.
watched. Yeah, I think it's like 164 episodes or something,
Wow.
half an hour each or 22 minutes each or whatever. And I watched the entire thing in like 2012 or something.
But why?
It was so good.
Oh, is it really?
It was so good. I mean, for a
Oh.
daily, it's the best daily drama I've ever watched. And like, it was also like in an extended period of illness. So I had like nothing else to do, but also like, I think I remember hearing how at the time this was airing, it had super high ratings and like everyone used to, like the streets would be quiet because everyone would go
Wow.
inside to find a TV to watch it, which is hard to imagine now, right? But it was a big drama. So I can understand why oh, that's right. Yes, now I remember. Okay, yes. Okay, now I remember who he was.
Enlighten.
So what was he like in that?
He was very young
he weird?
and kind of gangly, and he was a little weird because Eamon-Key's always a little bit
And
weird.
he's still
Yeah.
gangly.
Yeah. Yeah, he was just like a young gangly dude who had like Eamon-Key energy. I don't know how to explain it. It's a family drama, so he didn't have a lot to do, but yes. Sorry to derail the conversation. Where did we all first see him? I want to hear where you guys first saw him.
Dalja Spring.
Yeah, the same one for both of us.
Ah!
This was like very early in our K-drama career, right? We
Oh my
both
God,
watched
yeah.
this at similar times with a couple of friends of ours as well. And it became all the talk in our email thread, our legendary long-running email thread, which ran to thousands and thousands of emails.
And ran for years and years. And I think you found Dalja Spring first and then inculcated me.
I was like, I'm watching this drama, you'll have to watch it too. I think, the interesting thing is with Dalja Spring, I think that is like the straightest Imingi you'll see. He's a wonderful hero, but he's not really weird. Like the sort of trademark weirdness that he brings later isn't so much in evidence in this drama.
No, his
although this is an
defining-
amazing drama.
Absolutely. But his defining characteristic was that he's the younger guy with
Yes.
like a bit of, what's that French term? Joie de
Joie de
Joie de vivre.
That, okay, you guys pronounced it better. And
We both have French training.
So he was just this breath of fresh air in Dalja's life because she was treading the conventional path and he was just an unexpected experience. So that's what he was embodying. I'm so sorry, my dog's going to be part of this episode.
Let's go with it.
He clearly was the story wasn't about him. It wasn't about his journey, his discovery. It's just about how he fitted into her life and her realizing that life could be more than what she had imagined. Which, by the way, just go and watch Dalja Spring, guys. It's a 2007 drama, so I know like a lot of our listeners might have missed out on it, but this is one of the original Nuna dramas,
But also, this is the rare drama that's way ahead of its time. I think
Absolutely.
this, as a contemporary drama, would fit in absolutely perfectly.
Yeah.
Like, you wouldn't be able to, in terms of it, I mean, visually, it does look a little older, but in terms of like the writing.
You might have to get over Tatum's hair, but like give it a chance.
I love her hair.
No,
Like,
I
Tatum is someone who's
do
just
love
so-
her hair.
I loved
Yeah.
it too, but like from a 2022 perspective,
Yes.
like it's a lot to take.
It is Ajumma
her hair
yeah.
and her makeup, like it's kind of a lot. But she rocks it. So my first experience of him was actually as the bodyguard in Really, Really Like You, which is I think it's like a 32 episode drama that he did with Eugene. And basically like she plays this plucky candy type character who's really good at cooking, and she eventually gets this role as like a sous chef in the in the Blue House, and he's a Blue House security guard. And they fall in love, obviously. And I just loved him so much at that. I was just like, who is this person? Like, because Iminki has this quality to him that is not like anybody else. Like he's weird in a really fascinating way. Like he never plays the scene in the expected sort of, like there are some actors who are really good, but they tend to give you what you're expecting. And he doesn't give you what you're expecting. And it's like better than what you're expecting because it's so him. Like he infuses, he doesn't do that thing where like every role he plays is the same. But you still get that like unique Imingi magic in all of his roles. If that makes sense. And they were just really, really cute. Like their romance was really cute. I mean, this drama has a lot of like it's long. There's a lot of other storylines that I don't care about, but like their romance killed me like dead. It was so sweet and adorable and lovely. And his journey as a character was what really sold me on him as an actor because he just did such a good job of like, he starts out as this kind of brash, bit of a playboy. Like he doesn't really want to be a bodyguard. He's just kind of there. It's his job. Like, but and then over time he kind of becomes a more serious person, and he, you know, with his interactions like with her and seeing how earnest she is at sort of following her dreams, and then like she has this really nice relationship with like the chef who mentors her, who is you know, the ajushi in the coffee shop from Coffee Prince, that actor.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name right now. The one who's like also a famous folk singer. Their relationship was really lovely. So yeah, I don't know how well it holds up, but I loved it when I watched it back in like 2009.
I was about to ask you, would it hold up to watching now? But I guess we'd have to watch and find out.
I did rewatch some of it. And I still enjoyed it, but I don't know how much of that was just like my affection
Nostalgia,
for Eugene and Imingi. Yeah, I just love both of them so much. Going back a little bit, like we talked about his debut drama, which was Be Strong Come Soon. He just plays like a minor character in a family drama. But then after that, he did this mini series. It's like a 4-episode. It was this thing that NBC used to do called Best Theater, and it's called Tanning National Village, which is like the athletes' village for Olympic athletes, where all like the Kukya Tepios go, like the national representatives. And it was written by the Hong sisters.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Sorry, not 4 episodes, 8 episodes.
8, yeah.
So it's short, and it has the 4 main characters are Imingi, Lee Sung-gyun of Mayajushi fame, and Choi Jang-yoon and Song Ha-yoon, which like I don't know that they're really popular anymore, but at the time they were big. But it's just about like these athletes who are following their dreams, and it's really lovely and really sweet. And I don't know if you can watch it anymore, but
apparently it's on Viki.
Wonderful in it. So him and Lee Sung-gyun were wonderful, and it's just like a really, it's not as over the top and like hilarious as a lot of the other stuff that the Hong sisters do. It kind of is low-key and contemplative and sweet and like thoughtful and kind of melancholy in a way that kind of reminded me of Park Yan-sun when I watched it.
Did he like start being weird at this point? Because like I think his defining trait of bringing something slightly grounded and weird is kind of what sets him apart from other actors, even in his early days.
Oh yeah, he was already weird and really, really like you.
Okay, awesome.
Like he was weird from Go. I think he might have even been weird in Be Strong Come Soon. I just have a very hazy memory of him in that. So,
okay. I think sometime between 2000, like after Dalja Spring and Evasive Inquiry Agency. Sai, did you watch that one? Evasive Inquiry Agency?
Yes, I did. Can
I
we
also
talk
saw
about
that.
that?
Yeah,
He
talk
is
about it.
fully weird in that. So that has a weird English title, which isn't really well translated. So it's also known as Mixed Up Detective Agency. And I have to say, as much as his character was very funny and off color in a sort of oddball, weird kind of way, I really hated the drama. And I know that that's not a popular opinion. That was a drama that bored me to tears.
It's also known as 4 Gold Chasers because they're like looking for a treasure. So I think some people call it 4 Gold Chasers.
I've never heard anyone call it that, although I'm seeing it here.
Well, apparently, maybe it's one of those things where like retroactively they give it an official English title, like post K-dramas becoming internationally famous, and it's just like a baffling, terrible title, like sometimes happens. But yeah, I'm with you, Saya. Like I watched it because of the writer.
Mm-hmm.
who is Park Hyun-sun, who we love.
Oh,
Because
that's true.
at the time, I think I had just finished watching Alone in Love, and I was like completely killed dead by how much I loved Alone in Love, which I will never stop stumping for. I don't know if you can even watch it anywhere on the internet now.
It's on YouTube, on the SBS World
really?
YouTube. I don't think it's available for you in the US, but certainly in the
Well,
UK and maybe
if you
continental
live in a
Europe.
region where you can watch that, please go and watch it. It's one of my favorite dramas of all time.
Yeah, they've uploaded the whole thing.
But I loved it so much. And then I was like, let me watch more stuff that this writer did. And then I watched Evasive Inquiry Agency, aka Four Gold Chasers. And I was like, what is this?
I just, the reason I watched it was because this is back when sort of Drama Beans was in its heyday, and this was like at the top of their recommendations list, and they like both gave it like a 10 out of 10 or
I
whatever it
remember
was.
they both really loved it. Yeah.
And I just couldn't understand that rating because I mean, that's why I kept on watching it, because I was like, it's got to get better. It's got, like, it can have a bad first half and be good in the second half. And this is before I had discovered how to speed watch. So I sort of dragged my way through the whole drama, but I sincerely abhorred it. Apologies to those who loved it.
I didn't hate it, but I just didn't really understand the appeal. I was like, okay. And it was just so weird. And
Too
not
weird, maybe.
in a way that I enjoy.
Yeah.
And I guess it's one of those like very personal
Mileage may
taste
vary,
type of thing.
yeah.
Exactly. So
So that was that.
yeah.
And after that, he went for like an entire decade of not doing dramas anymore. Did you guys notice? He did a guest role in
Yeah,
Shut Up Boy Band, Flower Boy Band. But aside from that, a solid.
Was
I
this when his
absolutely-
movie career was taking off though?
Yes, exactly.
Yes,
Yeah.
I absolutely noticed because I missed him so much during those 10 years. I was like, just come back, just do a drama. And then he would do like a cameo and I'd be like, yes. And then no, like with Shut Up Flower Boy Band, I was like, he's back. No.
And they killed him off.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is not a spoiler to say.
No, it's not a spoiler, but you know what really annoyed me about Shut Up Flower Boy Band? I didn't know he was going to die. I don't think any one of us knew
Neither
that he
did
was.
I.
And
Yeah.
so we were watching it, and I was thinking he was one of the main leads.
Right. I was like, he's back finally. And then no, at the end of episode 1, he's not back.
And
So
I mean, they proper got us invested in this guy, and then just
But that was also sort of part
I
of what the
mean,
drama was
ex-
doing.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think we can be mad because
No, I
it
can't
made
be
you
mad.
feel
I
extremely
couldn't keep
emotionally
watching it.
invested.
Do you know what I keep finding with people who I send to this drama is that they start watching it and then he dies. And then they stop watching it
that's
because
me.
they're like, but he died.
That's me.
The drama,
The drama
character that I
ended
was-
right there.
Yeah, right. But you're like, and like, I keep trying to tell them, no, you don't understand. This is where the drama begins. Like, Sungjun is interesting. He
Yeah,
has,
so
like,
here's
it's
our
his
like
drama.
PSA: if you either haven't watched it because of that, or if you started watching it and you stopped after episode 1 because of that, like this is one of the best dramas I've ever seen. Please go back and watch it. Yes, it's probably the best music
amazing.
drama of. It's like top 3 best music dramas ever made.
And I would easily put it in a top. I mean, the thing is, I have too many amazing dramas, but this would be in the top 10 drama list of mine that is populated by like 20 dramas.
So
It is that
after that, he finally came back as a male lead of a drama
Oh, no, but
properly in
let us-
2017.
Do you wanna
Let
talk
us
about
talk
his
about
film career?
yes. So I watched 2. I think Anissa watched a few more of his movies. I watched 2. I watched this one where he was a freaking insane psychopath. And
Oh, God.
oh my God, I mean, it was terrifying and it was perfect. It was actually it was a really good movie. What's it called? Monster. And he did it with Kim Go-eun. And it was basically a revenge drama where his character kills Kim Go-eun's sister and then she wants to avenge her sister. And it's a proper thriller. Like there are mind games going on. And because I had just seen him in Dalja Spring before that. And I saw him as this somewhat mercurial but just earnest young man, and then immediately after that I saw this, and I think it solidified Lee Min-ki as an actor in my head.
An actor with a big A.
Yeah, an actor with a big A, because that switch. I mean, Kim Go-eun was great, but Kim Go-eun was a little raw. Like her after all, her arc was basically the straight man. She's trying to get revenge for her dead sister. It's an intense role, but Lee Min-gi. Oh.
It's so interesting to me. What was the other movie that you saw with him?
Spellbound. I watched Spellbound. So Spellbound was with Son Ye-jin, and this was Son Ye-jin as a very it was basically like a horror romance, but it was horror like Master Son was horror. It's not like you're going to be scared out of your wits. It was
Like a horror rom-com.
It's a horror rom-com, yeah. And it was sweet. And Lee Min-gi was definitely doing the drama male lead part, but he was also like this hapless boy stuck in this haunted house with this girl who, attracts ghosts.
Yeah. It's so interesting to me that like when he took his long break from dramas and he was off doing films, you watched his like genre-y things, and I just watched the ones where I was trying to recapture him as a romantic male lead. So I watched Romantic Island, which is about a bunch of people who go to this island and have like romantic shenanigans.
What?
Yeah, like there's just like 3 couples and it's just about all these people who are on vacation and they're having like weird shenanigans. And then there's Very Ordinary Couple, which he did with Kim and Hee, it's just a very ordinary couple. It's a love story about them falling in love, having problems, having their happy times, breaking up. And then I also watched Hyundai, which is actually a disaster movie, but I only watched it for the cast. It was fine. There was nothing memorable about it. And then I just remembered I also watched Oishi Man, which like I was like, that sounds familiar. I totally forgot about this movie, but it's with Jung Yoo-mi. It's kind of like that Japanese movie Love Story. It's like kind of inspired by that, but yeah, they go to Japan, they go to Hokkaido, and it's like snowy and romantic, and there's some illness and there's some tragedy and some like, it's cute. It's a cute. Anyway, so that's kind of what I was watching while I was missing him. I just think it's funny what we gravitated towards.
It's funny that Lee Min-gi is actually one of those actors who is not like a drama a year actor, which
Yeah.
I don't know, does that mean he's just very selective in his projects?
Or, up till about a few years back, being a movie star meant more in terms of prestige and the kind of money that these projects had than being
100%.
in dramas. That's changed now. So now if you're a
Oh
drama
yeah, I'm
star,
kind of talking 2017 onwards.
I don't
He
think
has kind
he's
of had
been-
a drama a year, more or less.
Yeah, you're right. He definitely
Well,
has had.
yeah, like you said, Porma, it used to be that you would get famous on TV and then transition to film because that's where the real prestige and money was. And that was that way for American TV too. And that's changed in American TV as well. And I think it's changed in Korean TV as well.
Yeah, because you had like that period where all of those film actors actually came back to the small screen, right?
There were too many of them.
And I mean, it's kind of the Netflix thing, isn't it?
Yeah, true.
Kind of.
Yeah. Well, we're in the age of prestige TV globally right now. So it's interesting. So in 2017, he finally came back to drama as a proper male lead with Because This Is My First Life.
He came back as better than a proper male lead.
Yes.
Because Nam Se-hee was just a revelation in
Iconic.
What a
Iconic.
character.
like before
Yeah.
Ryan Gold, it's Nam Se-hee
That's
in
so
my heart.
true. The problem with this drama is because of the way that it ended, I've kind of slush piled it as a drama never to be revisited and never to be thought of again. But you're right.
So PSA for anybody who hasn't tried Because This Is My First Life, the drama does a bit of a nosedive in terms of character arcs in episode 15 and 16. So take advice from Moniz, stop at episode 14. It's actually a pretty good natural spot to end the drama.
Yeah.
Everybody gets happy endings. It's not that it goes sideways there. It's simply that characters do uncharacteristic things.
Inexplicable things that don't make sense according to who we know them to be.
And makes you hate them for doing it. So
Yeah.
And it makes you drop kick the drama out the window. Or is that just me?
But before that,
and also, but it's sometimes if you know this going in, you won't be as angry when you actually get to it. So
or you
that's
can
why
just
we're
stop at the
warning
right
you.
point.
Right.
Because it's such a such a worthy drama. The same way like when the weather is fine. But you just have to stop before it goes bad.
True.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
end of episode 14, just stop. Just stop. Trust us.
Don't say we
Just
didn't
stop.
warn you.
Yeah, I went to talk to like my former professor at Duke asked me to come back and talk to her class, which she's teaching. She teaches this Asian narratives class, which I'm so
can we
jealous
just
of.
pause here and say that Anisa went and gave a lecture on contract relationships to like young minds.
Well, no, the class was about the Asian marriage plot, so it was specifically like marriage plot dramas, which I just is like my favorite thing. So anyway, I was looking for like a clip to share with the class as an example of like one stage on my chart of marriage plot flow chart of progression. I had a better name for it, but I'm tired right now. But yeah, and so I actually chose a scene from Because This Is My First Life, and I was like, oh my god, this was such a good drama. Like I just all came back to me, and I was like, ah. So I had also done that, but then that kind of reminded me how much I loved so many things about the show.
Anisa, about that flowchart, shall we share that with our listeners on our social media?
Yeah, we'll share it on our Twitter account and our Instagram account. Y'all can go and see it, and we'll link to it in the description.
Absolutely. Okay. About Lee Min-ki's character in Because This Is My First Life, this one is probably, in my mind, the closest to what he's doing in My Liberation Diaries, and yet completely opposite, because he used to not speak at all in Because This Is My First Life. That was like one of the defining characteristics of this guy. And like we said, doesn't shut up in My Liberation Notes. And yet...
Wow, I don't find them to be similar at all.
Don't you?
When you were describing him, Anissa, when you were describing his character, I was thinking, well, that sounds like his character in Because It's My First Life, except for the talking.
But it's not even like he's actually a totally different person. Like, objectively, totally different worldview. Everything is very different.
But he's still Lee Min-ki, right?
No,
so
but it's not even the actor. There is a through line that is somehow a little similar in that both of them are very, very obsessed with how life should be and what they can control and what they can't control in life.
Okay, now I see it.
Well,
now
that sounds like his character in Own Master, which was the worst. Nobody watched that drama. That is the worst drama. You will thank me, even if you don't think you will. Gosh, what a trash drama. Waste of Lee Min-ki. I think that made me go off Lee Min-ki.
He dies in that one.
Is it bad that we've ruined the drama for it? The drama ruined itself, okay? And it ruined me. It took more than 16 hours of my life that I will not get back.
Oh, no.
When I could have been watching a good drama. Ugh. But
okay, so we jumped ahead, but sorry, go ahead.
But at least I got my scruffy detective version of him in Lies Within.
Before we go into The Lies Within, let's quickly talk about The Beauty Inside, which is a drama he did that was, how shall I put it? So he does your very typical chaebol hero in this one, except that he has that disease where you can't recognize faces. The one that...
prosopagnosia.
That one. Mm-hmm, and a lot of heroes had it. In those few years.
It was super trendy for a while. Yeah.
The girl who sees smells.
Yeah.
With Nam Gung-min. Yeah.
So
also The Secret Life of My Secretary.
Right.
That's the one. Okay, so he's like, and he's very typical in his chaeboliness here, except it's Lee Min-ki, right? So even when he's doing a very typical chaebol, he stands out.
Exactly.
It's just his delivery, the way he just looks at people around him, and also one thing I really appreciated is that when he sees a person and doesn't recognize their face, his face is already so blank of expression, like just this character's face, that you don't know if he's staring at you because he doesn't recognize you or if your presence is like beneath him to acknowledge. And
I
it works
mean-
either ways.
Yeah, I mean, Iminki can do a blank stare like nobody else. It's so good.
It's one of the reasons that this drama was so enjoyable for me to watch. The other reason was Idahi, who was playing both his half sister and also his business rival. She was basically playing. I've said this before. The male second lead, only she's the female, the second lead. Yeah. Anyway, back to Iminki. He made the drama worth watching. Honestly, Seo Hyun-jin was fine, but the story didn't have too much meat. If it wasn't Iminki, I wouldn't have watched the whole thing.
Yeah, I haven't heard good things about Beauty Inside in general. So
That's because it's so convoluted. And the ending really pissed a lot of people off, justifiably.
Yeah. I feel like it's the kind of show that if I had started watching it while it was airing, I would have probably watched half of it and then just kind of forgotten about it or gotten distracted with other things. But because I never started watching it and I heard everything that you had to say, Burma, I'm just like, I'm not going to watch that.
I think when I was watching it, I was enjoying it a lot. Mostly because of Iminki. But like in retrospect, I can completely see how valid the criticisms of that time was, which I refused to acknowledge at that time. Okay,
So,
the next one.
yeah. So the next one he did the next year was The Lies Within, which was his, scruffy detective phase, which, Saya's always here for. I have to confess, I only watched half of that show because it just got too gruesome for me and I didn't want to watch
Lee Jin-hyuk being dismembered. Yes.
I didn't want to watch Lee Jin-hyuk be tortured anymore. Like he had just had like multiple roles where he was like either being murdered or dismembered or like I think bad things were happening to him and I was like I cannot watch this in another show even though I really liked Iminki, but even more than him, I really loved the female lead, Lee Young. Like
she was badly underused in that drama.
She was underused, but whatever she did was very good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lee Young is actually someone we should do an episode like this on because she is amazing.
I want to do that. Yes.
I love her
Let's
so
do that
much.
next. So what did you think of the whole show and him in that show?
I mean, it was a pretty sort of straight up, detective, political thriller mystery kind of show. Murder mystery thing. Like, the whole thriller genre blend where it's a little bit political, it's a little bit personal, it's a little bit all of those things.
Right.
It was a good show. It wasn't a spectacular show. It was really good. Like, you could watch it to the end without being bored. It doesn't belong in any of my top 10s, but it was full of the cast was excellent. And as you say, Lee Young was amazing at everything she did in it. She just was so badly underused in that drama, which made me a little bit angry. But Imingi does make up for it. It wasn't Imingi drama. He was the drama was straight, but he was the oddball. So he still brings that weirdness and he has Saturi in that drama. So his speech sort of added to his oddballness. And the way that he delivered his lines, he had this quite clipped way of speaking, which is not how he normally speaks in his other characters. So you got this sense that he was thinking in full sentences, but he would speak half of it and the other half was in his head.
Oh.
So you got this sense of him sort of, I'm looking at the review that I wrote of this at the time, and I've written that, watching him work makes me think of the expression, a clock that keeps its own time, which is a perfect description of him. He moves at his own pace regardless of how slow or fast things are around him. So he's a very interestingly drawn character, and I think a lot of that is him. It's not necessarily the writing that's giving him that, it's him putting it into his character. And yeah, he's Imingi. He's masterful in crafting and creating his characters and making them memorable even when the drama, he's always better than the drama that he's in. Not always, most of the time.
Not always, but most
Sometimes
of the time.
drama is as good, but most of the time he elevates the drama.
And I mean, we already talked about
And then he went
Master
and did
or
Oh
Oh My
Master.
Lady Lord. So we don't need to spend more time than you've already wasted on that. But sometimes the
annoying
material
thing
can
is-
be elevated.
The annoying thing, oh yeah, that's true. I forgot about that when I said that sentence. The annoying thing is his character was really interesting and it had a lot of potential. They just kept sort of sort of
Butchering it.
retconning his character. Like they would keep rebooting his character. Like he would have some development and then they'd reset him. Then he'd develop and then they'd reset him. And the drama did this 2 or 3 times. And you're just like, what are you doing? Like, can you have a constant arc of development instead of, going to sleep and waking up your old self that you were? Like, just
Yeah,
it was
like,
just
and
a
that's
bad
always
drama.
frustrating, but it's especially frustrating when writers do that when, like, that the actor has so much
Yeah,
potential
both
to,
of them. Like Nana
carry
is,
a character arc of, like, interesting development. Like, some actors can give so much more than what's on the page, and it's just, like, the writer and the director just has to, like, give them the space to do that, and they'll just, like, take it and, like, run off with it.
Yeah, I wonder if he didn't have the full script when he chose this drama, because
I can imagine that he
can't-
probably did not.
yeah.
Yeah.
oh,
Because he generally makes pretty good choices.
yeah.
Speaking of good choices, the most recent thing that he's been in is My Liberation Notes. And is this gonna I don't know if this is gonna come out before or after the next Long Yak, but, like, we talked about it in there and how much we love it and how much we love him in it. But anything that we want to add that we haven't said about him already?
Just that Junkie is quite a departure from the characters I've usually seen Iminki portray. For one thing, so the all 3 siblings are main characters in the drama, right?
Yeah.
But he's not the central main character, so to speak. Like, the focus isn't really evenly divided between the siblings. I would say,
Kim Ji-won's
Kim
character
Ji-won's
is kind of
character.
the main character,
Yeah,
right?
Kim Ji-won's
Mi-jung.
character
Yeah.
gets, like, most of the spotlight, and she gets, like, the romance. But what I really like about Chang-hee's character is that doesn't make his plot less engrossing. And his plot is entirely about his character, like how he sees his life, like the daily drudgery of going from his small town, home, traveling to the office, and then spending all day visiting different stores that he takes care of. And then the office politics that's happening, just complaining with his friends, then, trying to date, and kind of like, so what he ends up doing often is that he predicts the end of his own relationships, and he kind of makes that happen. What do you call it? Like, when you're
Self-sabotage.
Yeah, self-sabotage. You're kind of making it happen because you expect it to end. There is a better phrasing that I just can't think of right now. And he keeps...
Oh, a self-fulfilling prophecy?
Correct, that's the one. And he knows that about himself.
Right.
And you realize how self-aware he is as a person. Oh, okay. Actually, I thought of the perfect, what I actually wanted to say about Chung-hee, which is something that I rarely see in a character, let alone a male character. His self-awareness. He says a lot of things, and he's constantly spouting these revelations that he's had about the world and how it functions and what his own place in the world is. And you think that it's all gas. And then suddenly he would say something that absolutely makes sense. And you realize that this guy is actually really insightful. He just...
Yeah, he's insightful in a way that people who talk a lot usually are not.
Yeah, exactly.
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 Because people who talk a lot tend to spend most of their time talking and not a lot of time thinking. But he thinks a lot too. Like, he talks a lot, but he thinks a lot. And I mean, I've only seen less than half of the show at this point, but he gets the best lines.
He gets the best lines.
Out of
That's
all
true.
the characters, he gets the best lines. He's the most alive and real feeling out of all the characters. Like, everyone else is also very well written, but you know him. Like, you know this person. Like, this is a real person.
And the other thing is that his siblings have these defining roles. Like his youngest sibling is the introvert, that's Mi-jung, and Ki-jung is the extrovert who's looking for love, and Chung-hee just wants, like, his own car so he can, date properly and maybe move to the city at some point. But even then, Chunky's actually a mix of his siblings. Like, he is an introvert in some ways too, and he's an extrovert in some ways too. And it's so hard to exactly put him in a box. Unlike his siblings really neatly fit into certain boxes. Like Mijang.
Well, and that's what makes him feel more like a real person, right? Is because we're all contradictions. None of us are like just one thing.
Exactly. And that's why I kind of feel like this particular role, I have not seen him do a role like this before. And I don't know if he'll get an opportunity to do a role like this again. And I think he knows that because he's putting everything into every scene he's in.
I think this is also the role that he's had that is simultaneously the most well-written and complex, and also like the most sort of not down to earth necessarily, but it's the most relatable character that I think he's ever done. Like it's the most immediately sort of like, because I find with him, even though he's incredibly magnetic and interesting and charming and weird, like a lot of his roles have this like distance between him and the viewer. And this doesn't have that distance.
Exactly.
You're immediately like welcomed into his inner self and his world and his life. And he's just a really personable character, which is why, he has this woman who calls him and talks to him for an hour and a half every day. Like he's like,
this is Ajuma store owner.
Right.
And he's a store manager.
And he just like listens to her grievances for an hour and a half every day because he's like too nice to hang up on her. But like he's just so easy to talk to in the way that like if you knew this person in your life, he would be that person who's like very easy to talk to, very easy to be around. And like I don't think I've seen that in any of his other roles because it was always like quirky in a way that had him a little bit at a remove.
He was a little shiny in those like. But in this role, he is both sympathetic character who's listening to this Ajuma go on and on for hours, but he's also petty enough to complain to his friends the next day, and especially about like his colleague whom he doesn't like. He'll bitch about her.
Right.
But it's like he's a ball of contradiction. He's so messy. And it's great.
In a good way.
In a great way, yeah.
Whereas like Kijang is messy in a way that like kind of annoys me.
That is a lot to take. Like her personality like really sucks the air out of a room because of how chaos follows her around.
I was gonna say if there was one Imingi to rule them all, which one would it be for you guys? But I think it's fairly clear.
Yeah. For me, it's most likely. Oh no, wait. There is.
I don't know. I feel like I can't judge between him and Namsehi until I've seen this whole drama because Namsehi is such an incredible character.
That's true. Namsehi is a bit unforgettable. Even though he did have a bit of that polish, he had this. Damn it,
Yeah, I mean,
this is the closing question.
Is so Namse weirdly, even though he was at a remove because of his personality, out of all the roles that he's done, like he got my heart the most. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he made me feel so much for him, even though he wasn't. It was like because he showed very little expression. You as a viewer were like, have all my feelings. I will fill in that gap of feelings because I know that you're feeling it, but you can't say it. So here's all of my feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
And also, like, anytime the show was like, we must make Namsehi feel or something, or like put him in a situation where he has to emote, you as a viewer were like protective of him. You're like, don't do that to him.
Exactly.
Let him be aloof and live alone.
Right.
That's what he wants.
Yeah, let him be himself. Exactly. Don't hurt my baby. Don't put my baby into an uncomfortable position. Okay, I think we've reached a point where we're just not saying anything useful anymore. So, in conclusion, we love Iminki. We're so happy that he got to do this role that he's just doing now. I think before we wrap up, can we just say like how we feel about where he is in his career right now as a closer?
I think he is in a really good space because at this point in time, you have roles for actors who can bring something different, like in dramas. Like you could probably do that in movies in decades past, in Korean movies, but in Korean dramas, you had to be a certain type to fit into the lead roles. But now you have choices.
No, you're absolutely right. And, like we've talked before about how cable changed the drama landscape in terms of how it became a lot more free. Like there was more creative freedom for writers and directors to make the kind of shows that they wanted post Reply 1997, because they weren't kind of put into these rigid boxes of who is a marketable male and female lead that were so much more strict on broadcast television. And then streaming has kind of expanded that even more. So like it really makes a lot of sense that he would come back to dramas in, 2017, because he is the kind of actor that doesn't fit neatly into that box. Like he kind of forced himself to earlier in his career. But the true beauty of what he can do didn't really blossom until he was able to do these kind of roles, like Because It's My First Life, like My Liberation Notes, even The Lies Within, like you said, Saya.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
So we're excited for what he's going to do next.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So if you like this kind of episode, let us know. If you have ideas for who you want us to talk about next, email us or tweet at us or find us on Instagram. I don't know what's the equivalent of tweet at us in Instagram language. You're the
DM
expert on that.
us.
Sliding
Forma.
into the DMs.
Yeah, slide into our DMs and talk to us about who you want us to talk about. So how can people find us, y'all, to do that?
They can find us on Twitter at Dramas Overflow. And you can find me, Saya, at Not Now Saya.
And you can find me on Twitter at Anisa Khalifa _
And you can find me, Porma, at Festa Faster. And you can find us on Instagram at dramasoverflowers _ and you can email us at dramasoverflowers@gmail.com.
And you can find us on Facebook. Just search Dramas Over Flowers. And our website is dramasoverflowers.net. And be sure to sign up for our newsletter for updates and new news and other stuff.
Extras.
Extras.
Yeah, extras.
Extras.
Dramas Over Flowers is part of the Frolic Podcast Network. Find more podcasts you'll love at frolic.media/podcasts.
And that's
Thanks
a wrap.
for listening.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.